All right. Here we go. Hey, we're back. Welcome again to another thrilling installment of the weekly Dividend Dive, where you, the viewer, make this possible. So we thank you, and let's have an interesting and productive show. Shall we? Getting old, can't run around like that as much as I used to, huh? Wow, it's crazy in the week. DeepSeek, we're still here. We're deep seeking it, and I'm collecting my thoughts. So I thought your name was Creeperoos or Creepos. I was gonna say, dude, that's a fantastic name. So, woo, look at this. I'm gonna be goofy. I'm gonna run around a little bit. Maybe I need more cardio in my life, huh? Nobody needs more cardio except you running nuts, which I know we have a few of you. You're addicts. First step in is admitting you have a problem, right? Well, we got a lot to talk about. I want to know what you guys are buying. What are you doing? I'll share what I'm buying. The hour goes by fast, so I love it. I look forward to this each week. And I went to Costco before. Actually, I was there like an hour ago. We were in IKEA, right? We needed new bath towels. Apparently, my wife informed me that 20-year-old bath towels, they're starting to fall apart. I'm like, they're fine. She's like, look, we're pushing net worth millionaires and we're using ripped 20-year-old bath towels. Wealthy people don't have this. So she convinced me, go to IKEA, buy some. So we went to Costco, ticker COST, and I needed aftershave gel. They don't have it. Can you believe that? Costco, of all places, doesn't have aftershave gel. So I shaved anyway and used some hand lotion. So we're going to get through it together. We'll work through it. Yeah, welcome in again, in all sincerity. Thank you. I hope you caught the last video I did with Kelly Green from Malden Economics. She has the Dividend Digest newsletter. They have Yield Shark, which is a paid one. Very fun conversation that we had. So, Pat, John, all the usuals. Oh, Alan, you bought 10 shares of SCHD and SCHG. The SCH growth, Schwab growth. 60 shares each. Man, I love tea. And Bigelow Tea. I don't know if they're publicly traded or not, but probably not a good. You know what? And it's funny. So, I'll do this for the 20 of you watching and those that are just tuning in. Before we get to anything, I was working on some notes because in the world of YouTube, I don't know what to call it, but when everybody wants to know about something, everybody will do it. And I know Joseph Carlson did a DeepSeek video and AI, and everybody's on DeepSeek after this week, which is so cool because it just goes to show you have no idea what's going to happen each and the next day, even that day. You don't know what's going to happen. Unfortunately, there was that tragic plane crash in the Potomac between a passenger airliner and the Black Hawk helicopter. That is so unfortunate and tragic. But again, it should just remind us that life is so very fleeting and tragic and precious, and it can just literally go away at any moment. So with that being said, again, we don't know what's going to happen each week. So I was putting notes together for because I was thinking about it. What companies, right, could benefit from DeepSeek? Say DeepSeek is faster, cheaper, does everything better, doesn't need the brand new fancy NVIDIA chips or any other. Anyway, just say that, and it really puts a damper in all the AI plays that we know and have loved for the past year. Well, I'm going to read you this right here from my new iPhone 14 Plus, but these are notes. So again, I script everything out except for this, as you know. If this was scripted, that would be somebody needs to get fired. But so thinking about China's DeepSeek, it could disrupt AI software companies, right? But it increases the demand for energy and the infrastructure that powers it. So thinking about companies that could benefit from that, well, data centers, right, would need power regardless. I love this thought of which AI wins, and the benefits energy infrastructure. This benefits energy infrastructure companies like Enterprise Products Partners and The company or the ETF that I bought, which was MLPX, it's basically 30 or so midstream companies. And again, thinking about enterprise products partners, ticker EPD, some of the key advantages we got are they have physical pipeline assets that can't be disrupted by AI, right? Because, hey, they still got to move natural gas and oil. They have long term contracts that provide the cash flow. The growing data center power needs means more growing natural gas demand, right? So companies like Enterprise Products Partners, Kinder Morgan, Williams Company, to name a few, they're not exposed to AI software competition risk. And I would think of it again, it's like a pick and shovel play. And it's so cool because say DeepSeek becomes the main thing. Well, everybody's going to want to access DeepSeek, right? So it would be almost like, well, before EVs came along. You think ExxonMobil cares which is the most popular selling automobile? No, because it's going to need ExxonMobil's product to make it go. Same thing, people are going to need power, right? Power is what makes the AI go. So companies like Enterprise Products Partners, they're like, yeah, DeepSeek, Claude, Perplexity, whatever. Whoever wins, good luck to you all, but you're going to need what we got, which is power generation. So, yeah, energy infrastructure would be EPD, companies like MPLX, which is Marathon Petroleum, and then also the ETF easy button I hit, MLPX. Just stuff like that. I got a few other tickers: traditional energy, construction and electrical, ticker CRH and ticker MYRG. But anyway, so those were some notes that I was working on for a potential video. Don't know if I'll do it because it's been crazy here. I got bowling season coming to end, and if anybody bowls there, hey, shout out to you because my daughter's looking pretty good. She's 16 now, and in her second full year of bowling, and yeah, it's been fun. So anyway, that was a little bit of a departure from the norm, right? With these long, little bit of a disjointed, just reading you from my notes. But what do you guys think about DeepSeek? This also is one of the reasons why I kind of shy away from Nvidia and like the hot semi companies because, man, something like that comes out of the blue. These companies are priced to perfection, and any little thing like that, and everyone freaks out. And I think Nvidia, it came back a little bit, but yeah, everybody just panics and like, oh my gosh, and that's what you get when things are priced to perfection. You can wake up. I'm pretty confident we won't wake up tomorrow morning and say, hey, China just released a new Dorito chip, and nobody's gonna probably want Frito-Lay's Doritos anymore, right? No, that's gonna take a long time to unseat. You got, right? Lay's has Fritos, Cheetos, Doritos, Tostitos. I might be forgetting a fifth one there, but hey, like we say, they got all the Eatos. So, Adam, yeah, I haven't even looked. And oh, what's MPLX then? No, they're a derivative, right, or a subsidiary of Marathon Petroleum, TJ, right? Unless I have that wrong. Again, always, if you're watching this, please correct me if I say something wrong because, when you're just out here just flapping your gums, something's going to come out wrong. And it's not intentional. I assure you, most of the time it's because I'm probably not smart enough to remember the things that need to be remembered and said properly. But we're trying. We're trying. I try to be SMRT smart. So, but, oh, one more housekeeping programming note. I did realize right as I was coming on, like, what's going on next Sunday? Something's happening next Sunday. Like, that's right. It's the Super Bowl. That will be smack dab at the right 5:30 my time. So right about the time I'd go on, it's when it's going to be toward the end of it. So I don't know what's going on. We may have a couple people coming over or doing our own thing, but yeah, I think I may try to keep track and do the top 5 or 10 dividend company commercials. Remember I did that a few years ago? Some of you might not remember that, but no, TJ, I think you're wrong. MLPX is the Global X Energy. The global MLPX is the Global X Energy Infrastructure ETF, right? Yeah. So, and then MPLX, I think is I don't remember exactly. I think it has something to do with Marathon Petroleum. I mean, we can look it up, or you can just tell me. But um, yeah. So, but as hey, this must be like what it's Danish handball is probably the equivalent to me of what American Dynasty fantasy football is to you. You're like, oh, that's nice. Okay, I don't care, but well, my hats off uh, to the Danish World Cup handball champions. I don't know. Oh, dude, Adam, come on, man. I'll drink to that. But yeah, so anyway, to finish that thought, I think I may go live at like 4 o'clock. We'll see. So, it's a day where people are busy and I'm not gonna go on during the Super Bowl because I enjoy it, but yeah, thanks for sharing that, John. And MPLX, it's easy to confuse them, right? To confuse those two, but don't confuse them with MXPX, which is pop punk band from the 90s or so. But um, Phil, I don't have TD. I sold that off right after the news broke about the anti-money laundering shenanigans that were going on with TD. And as soon as I read that they were getting hit with was it $2 or $4 billion penalty? I don't remember what, $2 or $4 billion fine from the US government. And then the US government was going to indefinitely cap their growth in the United States. I was like, nah, you know what? I'm out. That was too much for me. So I decided to just boo out. All right. Adam, I also wanted to talk to this. You said futures down a bunch. And that's one of the things I wanted to do about my the newsletter is that here I'll share it while I'm yapping at you, and then we can probably go into news. But the newsletter that I put together was because actually Friday morning I wanted to buy more VTI, and I never changed this in time. There we go. All right, so this is my newsletter here. Right here. Right here. Am I viewing that right? Oh, I think so. Oh, whatever. Anyway, yeah, so I wanted to, but I had all-time high anxiety. It was a shade below the all-time high of 300, almost $303. And beautiful. Why are we not? Well, this is fun. It's not viewing properly. All right. Well, not sure why that doesn't. Here, I got to do this open. I know you didn't need to see all that, but anyway, here we go. This is what you needed to see. The beauty of streaming live. So, yeah, anyway, I pointed out what VTI was. It's like buying the entire US stock market, almost 4,000 companies. VOO or SPY equivalent are different companies. The S&P 500, the 500 roughly largest US publicly traded companies. But yeah, a quote from Warren Buffett in the 2020 annual meeting. He said, anything can happen in America and the markets tomorrow, but we know that over time, America will move forward and grow. So then Ben Carlson, who's on the compound, yeah, he had this chart he shared, which stops in November. But, if you have all-time high anxiety, check that out, man. That is just, that is beautiful that they looked at going back to 1929. If you invested at market peaks right before the crash, after in the right column there, after 20 years, you would not have lost money. So I think that's freaking cool. You would not have lost money. Where'd I go here? All right, here we go. It just shows if you have a long time horizon, don't worry about all-time highs. And you want to wait for a pullback. That was kind of the thought that I had. I'm like, well, I should wait for a pullback, but Again, it's why the saying "time in the market beats timing the market." And going back to 1950, they found that there's about a new all-time high in the S&P 500 every 14 days on average. That is wild. So anyway, so I'd run toward all time toward if there's a sale, if there's a pullback, correction, crash, just buy the market, right? Um, and then I received no dividends, but here we go. Since I'm here, what I bought this week, the week that was, 2 shares of Realty Income at 54.97, 2 shares of Nike at 74.50. I'm at 80 shares. I really want to round that out to 100 quicker or sooner rather than later. So I'd like to see it back down to the low 70s. 5 more shares of Vici Properties at 29.75, ticker VICI. There it is, the 3 VTI shares, Vanguard Total Stock Market, $298. 6 more SCHD at almost 28. One more Nexstar Media Group, right? It's my Brokeback Mountain. I just can't quit it. And 1 more share of Harrow Incorporated, ticker HROW at 31.95. So that's that. I'm going to come back, see what you guys are rapping about, and then we'll jump over and do news. Yeah, wait a few more minutes and we'll do news. But let me see what you guys are what you're talking about, John. You got Hershey, Mondelez, and Pepsi. Yeah, actually, PepsiCo reports on Tuesday, I believe, before market open. That will be my first PepsiCo earnings where I haven't owned the company outright for almost over 2 years, I think. Michael Anthony, the bass player for Van Halen, said after Monday earnings, AT&T had a big beat. Yeah, they sure did. They sure did. If they go to 40, I'll probably be a little sour, sour grapes, because yeah, I'm just, it's, God bless them and good that they're doing it. But, maybe I was wrong on that. And it's just, again, why I want at least no more than 15% of our investment net worth into individual companies, because I seem to have a good knack sometimes for dumping stuff that looks like a dumpster fire, turns out to be, it's was gold underneath that dumpster fire once they put the fire out, like AT&T, and then going heavy into stuff like my Nexstar Media Group, which, I still think that one, that the new FCC chair coming in could really favor deregulation, and there's caps on the amount of stations in a market that Nexstar or any broadcaster can own. So they want to lift those. It looks like those caps could get lifted. It's what Nexstar's been pushing for. And if that happens, there's going to be a lot of mergers and acquisitions, I would assume, from Nexstar. They're like the big player in the industry. So I think they could really, really benefit from FCC deregulation in that. Will it happen? We'll see. But, Jim, that's interesting you say that, because I usually get it from myself, and I wonder what I did. Yeah, I thought it was public, man. That's interesting. I wonder if I did something wrong, because I thought I had sent it. But, I mean, maybe I mucked it up. No, it says I published it. But you're right, because I published to myself too, and I did not see that. So I wonder if I can resend that. I'll do it when I get off, because nobody's going to, I don't know. I got to see what happened. So maybe it didn't go through. Yeah, something. Okay, I don't know. Something, because it shows me no recipients. Anyway, Jim, be on the lookout for that then. I'll deal with that when I get off. Not going to do it now. I don't know what happened, but thanks for giving me the heads up, Jim. Appreciate it. Yeah, Phil says you can always go after Royal Bank in that case. I think they do look like the best of the Canadian banks from their performance, at least. I know Mike, the dividend guy, he's up there in Canada. He's been in that industry. I think he spent 20 years working in that. I think he worked for National Bank up in Canada, right? That's like the least known of the big six. I think it is the big six Canadian banks. Or is it five? I think I'm thinking of original six from hockey, which my Blackhawks are one of those original six. Why VTI versus VOO appears to do better. VOO does. Yeah, for right now. And it's because the Mag 7 really, VTI has, and this is my personal feeling, VTI has almost 4,000 companies. It's buying the entire publicly traded US stock market. And you're getting small cap, mid cap, micro cap exposure. So I think it could do better. Um, you know, it I don't know. It's they're so close. They're so close, but it's just my personal preference that I just want to own everything. And when you say do better, it's not like it's doing 10% better or something. It's a little bit, but if we have if mid caps, a lot of analysts are waiting for this big mid cap. Um, I wanted to say blow up. That doesn't sound right. If mid caps all of a sudden start to outperform a lot of other market caps, then VTI will do better. But we'll see. It hasn't happened so far. So, oh yeah, talking about Kelly. I think you're talking about Kelly, right? Shout out to EPD in her white paper. I don't. Oh yeah, I'm okay. There you go. Sorry, you can go a little fast and miss stuff, right? The vid with Kelly Green. It was cool. I'm glad she came on. And it's funny the way this stuff works out. I've gotten Kelly's newsletter for a couple of years now, and I never even thought to contact her, but somebody from Malden Economics, who I think is kind of like publicist outreach, kind of, just they changed the name, and he sent me an email and said, "Hey, you might be interested in this guest." And I get a lot of those where people want to collab, and you get offers, all kinds of goofy stuff. But yeah, I was like, "Oh, no kidding." I'm like, I've been reading her newsletter for 2 years. I'd love to have Kelly on. So it's funny. I felt like I knew her without ever meeting her. The other thought, Adam, that I shared in that newsletter is one last thing to combat the all-time high anxiety when buying the market. Yes, an individual stock, if it's priced to perfection, could be a little bit more anxiety inducing, but if you're buying the stock market, the S&P 500, or just everything, the whole shebang, and it's at an all-time high, isn't that it doing what it's supposed to do? It's the economy's growing. It's working. It's doing what it's supposed to do. It's not contracting. So, yeah, Eddie, I sold out of Clear Secure. That was one of the first ones because yeah, right after, before the first of the year, I just did, and I had never done this. Don't ask me why. I wanted a total snapshot of all our investment net worth minus kids' 529s and savings accounts and our travel fund. We have a separate high yield savings account that's just for travel. And I just wanted 401k, IRAs, Roths, the taxable account, things that I share. So with all of that I wanted the individual stocks to be less than 15%. I think it was at like whatever, 22 or 23%. So I wanted to get that down and just sell off some of the ancillary positions. I not lost the faith, but I think I told you guys that I called them, they are feeler positions or exploratory positions. That's what they are. Because the thought is that you will pay attention to what you pay for. So I like to just buy 10 shares of something, or if it's, of $200-300, I might buy one or two shares just because then I pay a lot more attention to it. I have a feeling of an owner with skin in the game. And it's just, you have that different feeling when you actually have real money invested in it. And it just didn't grab me. The short of it is that I think I could see the TSA really encroaching on Clear Secure. So, that was my choice. I could be wrong. I know they're trying to expand into sports stadiums and different things like that, live venues, entertainment venues. But I think their bread and butter I could foresee easily where the TSA just says like, nah, hey, you know what? Not we're putting our thing out there and we're gonna be a lot cheaper than you and quicker and more people will use it. So um, yeah, that was my kind of thought for selling that. A couple more here. All right, at the 30-minute mark, we'll do news. So stay tuned for 5 minutes while I get caught up here. Costco's dropping Pepsi at the food court and going back to Coke. That's interesting. I don't know. Justin, I had not heard that. And you're not the Justin Bourne that knows my sis, my bro, my brother-in-law is related to my wife. My wife's family, I guess is what I'm saying, Justin. But yeah, I don't know if they are. That's fun if anyone can verify that. Because you're right, Justin, we want to be more about, I think we want to gravitate more toward fact than opinion. And it's so easy to just throw out opinions and, you heard somebody talk about. But I do know that because PepsiCo spun out Yum Brands, which Yum owns, see if I get this right, KFC, Taco Bell, and oh my God, Pizza Hut, right? KFC, Taco Bell, Pizza Hut, plus I think the Habit Grill. But those three chains will always have, because it was a lifetime agreement, lifetime contract that they can only sell PepsiCo products. So every time you see a KFC, a Taco Bell, which we went in one in Indianapolis, we needed some quick lunch, and Pizza Hut, they'll always have PepsiCo products. So kind of a nice little smart move. Somebody, I don't know who the CEO was in the late 90s when they did that, but somebody was using their noggin. Tariffs affects what stocks are. Yeah, it probably will affect all, some less than others. Actually, I was thinking about this today. Nexstar Media Group is probably going to be the least affected because they're all domestic. As far as I know, they don't rely on anything international. The only little hiccup I could see, and right, they get the bulk of their from local companies. They try to help local companies advertise, get the word out on their stations. But I suppose if tariffs really affected sales and they dragged that down, they had to let people go. Maybe they start cutting back on their ad revenue, because that is one of the first things that go in a recession is ad revenue. So, it's yeah, but I could see them not being as affected, I guess, as like a company with a lot of international exposure could. But just my opinion. Again, everybody has opinions, right? Jim, you open positions in Northrop Grumman, GE, and L3 Harris, which is LHX this week. Seems to be safe under this administration. We'll see. Lockheed Martin took a hit, right? Lockheed Martin took a hit. Yeah, Steve, that's I'm gonna find out what happened as soon as I'm done with this. I don't know what happened. I hit publish. You know what I might have done? I wonder if I had yeah, I wonder if I'll just hit resend to whoever, but yeah, I might have. It's bugging me right now. You see, now I got to get through this whole live stream because bugging me, thinking like, why didn't it go out? I wrote it. Yeah, I'm looking at it right here. It says sent. So anyway, I don't know what I did. I'll have to resend it or whatever. But I now you got me playing with it. Anyway. We'll get it out somehow. I'll figure out what happened. We'll do news here in a minute. Charles, what's up, man? Long time no peep. A lot of news, so get ready. I'm gonna have to take a sip here. TJ, you prefer VOO and a small cap ETF rather than VTI. Yeah, it's again personal preference. It's not like a huge, the difference here between SCHD and SCHG. Now that is huge, but honestly, VTI to VOO, not a lot. Yeah, we went at the shooting range, man. I can't believe how time flies. That's crazy. So I'll have to tell brother-in-law. I'll say his name, Kenny. You said hello. What's the use? Somebody's gonna hunt him and shake him down, like because he knows me or something. Come on. Adam, good. You don't have an issue buying at highs. And you like buying into highs. You just don't want to buy into the start of a trade war. Yeah. And that I guess is where it does make sense to pay attention to macroeconomic developments. Okay, so we are caught up here. Pat's back. LMT, yeah, the Department of Government Efficiency. And West, you buy one or two shares because you pay attention. I feel like you're shouting at me, just yes, 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 one or two shares. Maybe you're all hopped up on the gooped up on the gap and the caffeine. All right, that's enough of that. Let's do some news, ladies and gentlemen. If I can figure out what the heck I'm doing here. A newsletter's still on my mind. All right, here we go. Make it a little bit bigger there. So starting with the 27th, this is all Simply Safe dividends. I'm going to move quick here, and I'll say it again. If you want to, you're going to have to pause the video if you want to read or look at where it says undervaluation. That's Simply Safe's or the dividend, whatever. So they upgraded Xcel Energy, ticker XEL, because they say that they're committed to dividend growth as the wildfire liabilities ease. Kimberly-Clark, ticker KMB. I think this will make Ian Lopik happy. They raised the dividend 3.3%, which is their 53rd consecutive year of payout growth, and they might be toward the low end of undervalued, according to Simply Safe. Ticker SPGI, S&P Global, up the dividend 5.5%, which is their 52nd consecutive year of dividend growth. Two dividend kings raising, keeping them crowns alive. There's Williams Midstream Company, ticker WMB, 5.3% dividend raise, which is their 7th year of growth, and they could be overvalued. Maybe everybody's expecting the midstream companies to do well. Chuck E. Schwab raised that dividend 8%, which is the first raise in 2 years. So way to go, Charles Schwab, and they look to be reasonably valued. BlackRock, I know a lot of people wanted a bigger raise from this, but 2.2% raise. That's their 16th consecutive annual. Eversource Energy, ticker ES, 5.2% dividend increase, and that yield is way above. I need to know why they're so undervalued. They expect a price of $89 to $109, and it's currently $57. So if anybody has any idea, I guess right here, if I would just, I'll tell you. New England's largest utility provider and the newest Dividend Aristocrat member looks to deliver more stable results following a costly exit from wind projects, regulatory challenges in Connecticut, and a need to prioritize deleveraging to strengthen its balance sheet. Ladies and gentlemen, that's Eversource. Sanofi, the pharmaceutical company, raised their dividend 2.1%, which is their 30th consecutive increase, and they do pay annual dividends because they're from France. We come from France. Comcast, ticker CMCSA, dividend raise of 6.5%. That's their 17th year, and they look to be pretty doggone undervalued, but we got news on them coming too. Brookfield, I know it's popular with a lot. I owned it for a hot minute a few years ago, and then I decided I didn't understand the business, but they look pretty undervalued. 6.2% raise. That's their 16th consecutive year of increases. Told you there's a lot here. Got some more going. Cigna, ticker CI, raised that dividend 7.9%, which is their 5th raise. They also look undervalued. Yeah, a lot of healthcare companies, right? Taking a hit. This made the dividend talk guys happy. Ticker SHEL, Shell raised that dividend 4.1%, but it is still 25% below the pre-pandemic rate. So, hey, all these dividend raises look nice, but you're still down if you held them from before the pandemic. And there we go. Comcast got downgraded from very safe to safe because they're losing more broadband subscribers. So there you go. That raises the dividend. They say remains secure, but if anyone's buying Comcast, let me know. They reaffirmed their safety score of borderline safe on Whirlpool because they say the dividend profile remains fragile as the housing market challenges persist. So I think Kevin Burgess had sold them. Ticker CNI, Canadian Railroad Company. No, not Canadian National. I don't know what CN stands for. maybe it's Canadian National, raised the dividend 5%. That's their 29th straight year of annual growth. And this one popped on my radar as a potential buy. Now, I'm trying to be more selective, but they look pretty undervalued and they've had some issues. I think there was labor disputes, but now you got tariffs and there was supply chain issues that they were fighting through, wildfires, labor disputes, there you go. But they've been around for a while. So I think 1919 maybe. Almost there, guys. Polaris, ticker PII, raised the dividend 1.5%. FIS, which I don't know what that stands. I guess just FIS. They had cut its dividend last year, but they raised it 11%. UPS, they downgraded their dividend safety score from 69 safe to borderline safe because they pretty much are cutting ties, I think is what it is, right, with Amazon. But it looks way undervalued, so this is one that also could be a long-term hold. Chevron raised the dividend 4.9%. That's their 38th consecutive year. A couple more here. Church and Dwight, I think they own Trojan and Arm & Hammer, right? And OxyClean, ticker CHD, raised that dividend 4%, which is their 29th straight year of annual growth. Brookfield Renewable, Brookfield's a big web of companies, right? They've got tentacles everywhere. 5.1% distribution raise because interesting distribution. That must mean it's it's an MLP. So it's a master limited partnership. That's why. And then a couple more. They reaffirmed TELUS's dividend safety score of 72 safe, but an 8% yield. And last but not least, well, actually I got one more here, but Cincinnati Financial, which is a dividend king, raised that dividend 7.4%, which is their 64th consecutive year of higher payouts. And if we go to my portfolio here, let's see, where is it? Lockheed, next dividend declared. There it is. Good old Nexstar, which they had been raising that dividend almost 25% for 10 years. They raised it 10%. So I'm not that worried, and I actually like seeing a slower dividend raise. But our Patty are projected right down there at the bottom. Annual income increased almost $80, and as I click on Nexstar, which they're down there, but here dividend growth. Look at that 10-year CAGR of 27%. They have been raising that joker very fast, and I am glad to see them slow it down a little bit, pay off more debt, conserve some cash, buy back more shares when it's this cheap, So that's that. Holy cow, that was a lot. And I'm going to just blow through you guys here. So I'm going to do what to you guys? Get your mind out of the gutter on a Sunday night. It's the Lord's Day. Don't put your mind there. So Justin, you're talking about the Costco's. Said that it was cheaper for Pepsi to buy those chains than compete with advertising costs against Coke. Hey, thanks for shedding some light on that. So, Doc, what's up, man? Hey, brother Rains, I'm glad you introduced. Yeah, Kelly's always welcome back. But the thing, I had a bit of a struggle in more inside baseball, right? Making the thumbnail, because I think it's, if I put her mug on there and my mug on there, it's like too much. And I don't know. I thought about doing a quote, but I think when I have her back, I'll do more of just a specific topic. It'd just be easier to put that more people want information on. So, but it's hard because I know it's hard to believe, but 99.99% of the world has no idea who I am. They don't care about me. They don't know or care who Kelly is. So Zig Ziglar, the old salesman, there's a name that some of you old guys might know, but he had a saying, and when he was teaching people about sales, he would say that every prospective client has a radio station in their head, and it's tuned to WIIFM. What's in it for me? You have to always address What's in it for me? Because everybody's walking around thinking about themselves, right? So if you want to sell to people, you have to know. Oh, and he also said you got to get in bed with your prospective client. What keeps somebody awake at night? So I've thought of that when I'm doing like a video. I'm like, well, usually it's like, what stock should I buy? What's cheap? What am I going to buy tomorrow? And that's why a lot of cheap stock videos do well because, hey, everybody's thinking about, I want to catch something that's cheap. So, and I'm glad to catch you, Doc. Uh, okay, good. So they confirmed that they're swapping out Coke, Pepsi for Coke. That's cool, man. I really would like to know what West. I see you're not shouting. I love it, man. I would love to know what that might do to PepsiCo and what that might do to Costco. Is why are they doing it? Did they say why they did that? And I'm surprised I missed that. Yeah, Alan, you do need a Simply Safe subscription. Brian Bollinger is the founder, owner of Simply Safe Dividends, and I actually getting to know him. I text the guy. I actually have a direct text to him, which is pretty cool. But yeah, I'll get him on the program sometime this year, and we got to talk about something more because uh, I'll be a little bit, Ari Gutman. If you don't know Ari Gutman, he had Brian Bollinger on, and I was impressed as hell as before I really got to kind of know Brian. I was like, oh my God, he had Brian Bollinger from Simply Safe on there. And it didn't do very well because I think you need more of a going back to the what's in it for me. People are like, okay, great, that guy. And actually, I don't know if Jeremy's watching. I haven't watched his interview yet with the NEOS CEO. I know Jeremy's been doing a lot of videos about that, but it was just like interview with any NEOS CEO. You know what I mean? And you're like, what's in it for me? Like that's kind of the thought, right? I'm working this through with you guys because now you're gonna see when you do a thumbnail. So yeah, what's in it for me when because I can't just say interview with Kelly Green from Dividend Digest, and most people will be like, okay, why do I care? Talk to me. What is that doing for me? So anyway, Alan, I don't know what that was going for, but oh yeah, when I have Brian on, I want to do more than like say, hey, it's Brian Bollinger, the guy who owns Simply Safe Dividends.com. Like, right? You got to have something more. What's in it for me? So, is there anyone is anyone in the community considering some of the covered call ETFs? I'm not, but I am very interested to see how JEPQ and JEPI, those haven't been around through a sustained and prolonged, like multi-year bear market. I would love to see how those hold up and what they do. So, Jim, you do have some JEPI. Yeah, I'd love to know what those will do. And yeah, it's funny I bagged on Agree Realty's preferred shares. I would never buy these. And Jim's like, I own them. But again, there's a time and a place. Jim doesn't care about the growth. He's in wealth preservation mode, not wealth accumulation or growing his wealth. He wants to make sure that that income is stable for his retirement needs, right? Fixed income. So that's what that's good for. So he tells me, I don't know, I'm not retired yet, but kind of funny when I'm telling you about retired stuff and I have not yet been retired myself, but uh Blaze, oh dude, Blaze, thank you, man. I appreciate that. And you know what the funny thing is the 50 of you watching, I'll tell you this. Right now, I I can't hear you. I can't see you. I just heard my heat kick on and I'm here in my basement. I feel like a lunatic. I'm talking to myself into the camera right here. I hear nothing. So it's like sometimes I'm like, man, is this boring? Who the hell's listening to this? But yeah. Uh Jim thinks Kelly would be a blast sitting on the back deck drinking Boone's Farm and talking about dividend stocks. She would be all for it except for the Boone's Farm. She is sober. I hope she doesn't mind me saying that. I don't see why she would, because that to me is something that's to be proud of. I think she said she's 11 years sober. And my heart goes out. A side note, um, to anybody that has had addiction problems, if you're sober and maintaining that sobriety, freaking great job. Keep that up. And I don't I don't understand. I don't have addiction problems. Um, when I was in the Navy, I was with guys that had to stop, that couldn't drink, and one guy became a good friend of mine. Described it as, he's like, so can you have like a couple beers, or he's like, do you get that feeling when maybe you're really tying one on and you've had like 6, 7, 8 beers and you're like, that's too much. I gotta stop. I'm like, oh, totally. He's like, yeah, I don't have that. He's like, I will drink until I'm blacked out, passed out, or knocked out. I was like, oh, wow. Yeah, I've never even come close to experiencing that. So for people like him that had to go sober, because like he said, and it wasn't that hard. And I know we go off the rails here, but this is life. Come on. This is life. It's on my mind. Whatever. You don't like it, shut off the show. I don't care. I do care. No, I do care, but you know what I mean. Anyway, if you have problem, if you need to be sober, the guitar player for Bad Religion, Greg Hetson, little small guy, got kicked out of the band for sobriety issues. I heard him on a podcast, and he said something that was really cool. And they were talking about his sobriety, and he said, "I'm just sober for today," meaning like you take it one day at a time. So that was too much on that. I didn't mean to go that far off. So any of her investing philosophy jives with mine. Yeah, I kind of, I think it's interesting that she has like kind of her forever dividend growth companies, and then ones that are high income that she only holds for a couple years. So kind of that, but you know, yeah, just great companies. And I like to hear something a little different. She did say that in my portfolio, if you caught that, some of the things I own have too small of a yield. And right away, I'm like, Visa. But Visa, oh my God. What? That was after their earnings, just across the board. Everything's great. Yeah, almost $350 a share at one point. Dude, in August, I was buying that in the 260s and almost 250s. So maybe there's a reverse split coming eventually on that, or not a reverse split, just a split. Yeah, Pat uses Simply Safe all the time. Yeah, it's expensive, but I think it's a great tool. It's a great resource. I use it every day. And if you manage maybe over $10,000 personally that you look after, it probably makes more sense. But they're always improving it. It seems to me every quarter they make some kind of improvement or upgrade to it. So, like we got the credit ratings now, you know. Adam says JEPI and JEPQ seem okay. Sell your own covered calls. Yeah, that's a way to do it. But if you don't know how to sell covered calls, which I need to get better at, I need to, Adam, learn how to sell deeper out of the money OTM covered calls. So there's less risk of getting my shares called away, but I'll get less premium. But because I'm a human being, I start looking like going down the options chain. And I'm like, ooh, yeah, I was going to sell something. We'll just say like, I don't know, $20 out of the money, and whatever, get $12 of premium. But then I'll be looking at like $8 out of the money. And I'm like, that's like $180 premium. But anyway, so yeah, I know. Cry me a river, right? Considering opening a position with Lionel Bazell. I did used to own them. Not really, because two things I didn't like was that they are heavily tied to the commodity, to oil, right? So that really affects their business. And then in 2007 or 8ish, they filed for bankruptcy and they reorganized and they came out of it a new company, and all the shareholders before that, from what I understand, got nothing. And yeah, so that wasn't that long ago, but yeah, I don't know. I probably wouldn't. I talked we weren't talking, but with Kelly, you know, I would consider holding enterprise products partners again in the taxable account, but I'm really going to wait for a pullback to hopefully the mid 20s or lower, but that's one that's on my radar. Never born to talk about money. Yeah. Dude, you know what? I'm glad I said that. That's awesome because, dude, kudos to you, man. That is fucking awesome. And just stick with it, right? So I don't understand that, but you know, I whatever. My brain is wired differently, and that's not right to say. So, man, shout out, huge shout out to that. And I must have missed the first one of this, Charles. Oh, look at that, Rad Dad, Joe. What's up, man? It's been a minute, so I hope things are doing well on your end. Without getting into it, um, man, good to see you. And dude, that was forever ago. Here I am, still doing this, right? Clearly a labor of love. You know, my dreams of becoming a full-time YouTube. I don't know if I would want to do it full-time, quite honestly. I love researching this stuff and talking about it, but sometimes I wonder because this week it was a little crappy out with the weather, but I drive around. I don't have a boss. I get to use my brain. Uh, there will be a piece of equipment, and it's kind of like a puzzle when they say, yeah, this thing is not working and that thing's not working. Okay, you got to drive 25 miles over here because this piece of equipment's not working. It's kind of cool because it's like you get to play detective and figure out why isn't it working? What am I going to do to fix it? And I must kind of like it because I'm going on 26 years of the industry of doing what I'm doing. And yeah, the hands have taken a beating. You know, sometimes you break fingers and you know, what are you gonna do? I remember that guy when you I know 60 of you are just right really care about that. But anyway, um, well, we got a few more minutes, so everybody, rapid fire. What are you looking for in this week? What is theoretically, let's say the entire market just pulled back, everything's on fire sale. What is a stock or a company, right? I should say company because stock is really just ownership of a company. It's a little teeny, itty bitty, teeny tiny piece of a company. What's that one company you don't own that you want to? For me, Costco. When we went to Costco today, we were going to run in literally for my aftershave, which if you guys missed it, Costco doesn't have aftershave, like the gel aftershave. I couldn't believe it. But uh, anyway, we went in, got a few things, got some, well, we got Guinness, right? That's the big, that was $32 for 24 cans of Guinness, right? That's our splurge, you know, we enjoy it. But yeah, we got Guinness, a couple things like, oh, we need like some yogurt and we need bath towels and a couple things of water and, you know, this. And all of a sudden we rang out $141. And I looked at her, I was like, is that right? I'm like, we're by the food court and I'm having my wife check the receipt. That was right. I was like, man, Harris Elliott from One Penny at a Time calls it the $100 store. I'm like, dude, it is the $100 star. What's that? Where'd you get that accent from, guy? At the star? So, Adam, you're looking for a big pullback. I'm looking for a big pullback too. Charles thinks about getting back into. Is that Suncor? SU or Sunoco? No, SON, I think is Sunoco. Yeah, Alan wouldn't mind owning Nexstar. It is an acquired taste. I have to check myself, thinking maybe I'm, you know, maybe I have sunk cost fallacy going on, and I'm just looking for reasons why I could do well. But it's not what I expected. Warren always talks about owning the business, looking at the fundamentals. The stock, right, doesn't give a damn what you paid for it. It's going to move based on its fundamentals over the long term. There can be short, you know, ups and downs, but well, I didn't see it, John. I looked, I Googled it. We truth be told, we didn't ask anybody. I should have, but I need to get home to get on with you guys. Adam, that's one that I just kicked myself because I was talking to Ryan, the one and only Ryan Williams, about Netflix, and I told him how when that thing was under 200 bucks, I remember looking, thinking, we use Netflix all the time. Everybody I know uses Netflix. I don't think it's going away. So I should buy some Netflix. And you know why I didn't? Because they don't pay a dividend. I specifically remember looking and saying like, yeah, but they don't pay a dividend. So I'm going to buy more AT&T and probably PepsiCo. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is where just being saying you are this, I am a dividend investor, missed a huge opportunity, but thankfully, obviously, I still have exposure to them in my 401k and VTI and things like that. So, all right, a couple more of you here. Frank, you're looking at Keurig Dr. Pepper. Terry Crow, yeah, fretting over matters like VTI versus VU is a moot point. Yeah, VU versus a $10 a week cigarette habit. Right. Thanks for sharing that, man. It's exactly. Yeah, VOO and VTI, very, very similar, but just my personal preference. I sleep a little bit better knowing that in that instance, I own the entire investable US stock market. You're still do you really? Oh, Tesla, Meta, Bitcoin, Amazon, and Nvidia. Man, I'll hand it to you. When we were talking, when you were making videos, you were banging the table for Meta. What, 150 bucks a share? 100, maybe even under 100 a share. Now we're what, 600? So I'm like, this guy, they don't pay a dividend either. So, All right, a couple more of you. Frank just signed up for Netflix. Oh, you don't have Netflix. Okay. Well, you're the one guy in the United States of America, Eddie. See if you get me. I'm telling you, man, we went down that whole area. I was by the razors, I was by the hand creams, lotions, I was by the shampoos. Saw no aftershave gel. Womp womp. Yeah, and it's true, Jeff. All I can say is I lived, I learned, and that's why when Harrow Incorporated came on my radar, I felt that. I was like, yeah, but I'm like, I have a dividend channel, but they don't pay a dividend. And I said, nah, you know what? I'm going to buy it. And sure enough, I should have bought way more. They pulled back some, but dude, they went all the way from $8 to almost 60, which to me, I didn't like. It was too much too quick. I am still thinking about taking a year off. I said when I turn 50, I'll be 47. So it wouldn't be for another 3 years, but we'll see. I was talking about this with Harris, where if I do the calculations, right, they work out where if I needed to work 1 or 2 more years and then I could just be done for good, I'll probably just work that, because why not? Why take a year off? Well, anyway, we'll see. I'll cross that bridge when I come to it. Yeah, Meta was at 80 to 120, and the joke's on me. I know they got to start somewhere, but dude, I think about that, man. I think about you telling me like, you're like, Meta, gotta buy Meta. It's under $100, Meta. And I was like, yeah, no dividend, but TJ was assigned 500 shares of Palantir at $7. Oh, you flipped the selling calls and assigned a 10. Dude, I feel your pain. We're almost done here, but that happened to me with JP Morgan. I was playing that game. I got cute. I got 100 shares of JPM, and I remember it was at $108. I sold a covered call for 120. It got assigned. I maybe got like 100 or 200 bucks for that option. The shares got called away from me at 120, and I tried selling cash secured puts. It was at like 118. It was into like 125, and I only had like maybe enough cash to buy 100 shares up to like 128 or 128. Anyway, point being, I sold a couple cash secured puts. It kept going up and up, didn't get back in. And now JP Morgan is at, let's see, what is it at? if I can look quick. Not including all those dividends. It's at $267. So that, ladies and gentlemen, in my retirement account, I had 100 shares of JP Morgan at $108. And I wanted to get some covered call option income going. Freaking things at 200. If I would have just sat on it, I would have almost, a 6 dividends included. 16, 17, right? $1,000 gain. Yeah. 100. So it would have been up over, I don't know. It's a lot. I look at that one. I was like, wow, good thing I got a couple $100 of option income there. Brilliant, you know. All right. Alan goes to Sam's more than Costco. Jim would be looking at Axon. Oh, isn't that the company with the tasers, right? Am I thinking of something else? Yeah, Amazon hit 80s again. I saw those two. Google, right? Google was under 100, and I thought about buying some, and I'm like, no dividend. Matthew's looking at Snap-on and Rollins. Yeah, good ones. Show on early retirement. Hey, we could, but again, maybe once I'm early retired, that'll be a little bit better, because otherwise I'd just be telling you about something I've only read about and have no experience with. Dan, I'm excited, buddy. I hope, because I'm so young, I have so many years ahead of me. If the market pulled back 20%, again, easier said than done, right? Because when the bullets are flying, that's when you really you get to test your mettle there. So we will stay strong. And Adam, you get the last word of the week. Gold star, Adam. Last word. You have an average price of 121 on Meta. You bought a bunch all the way down. Hey, you know what? Sold 20% of it, 500. That's probably smart. I lied. And Jim, you did. I do know what I'm talking about. So it is tasers, body cams. Yeah. Yeah, that's one that I've heard. I think Motley Fool Money, they've talked about it. So anyway, guys, I think we're going to watch Deadpool and Wolverine tonight. So that should be interesting, and it's going to be a fun week. So next week, though, I'm going to start before the Super Bowl. So I don't know who's going to be around. If there's 5 of you here, I will enjoy it just as much as if there was 500, I think. Probably more so. It's more intimate. So love it when it's intimate. All right, everybody. Let's see what happens in the week, right? Gonna be crazy, I think. Maybe not. I don't know. Anyway, I'll talk to you guys next week. See ya.